Okay. Oshio. Ayoldazar. Welcome to the Red Road East. I'm your host, Feerce Truth-Seeker. Okay, so this is Juneteenth lecture part 2. Alright? And so in the last video, we covered quite a bit of ground with the Juneteenth holiday. And this is not going to be long. It's just a follow-up to that. Okay? And yeah, I just wanted to say that the RBG people, the Pan-Africanists and stuff like that, I just want to reiterate that, you guys need to learn your history. Okay? Learn your history. All right? Your history here. You can't go all the way across the water and not know your history here. Not know your family history here. Nobody across the water wants to know anything about you saying, I'm just African. I'm all African nations. There is no such thing. Okay? They know better. Number one, they didn't learn about this, a lot of this stuff that y'all are talking about in regards to slavery, and all of that stuff. They didn't learn that stuff until you all from here started talking about that. They don't have oral histories over in Africa about no millions of people being taken over and this, that, and other. Okay? Again, not to say that there were not people that were enslaved. It just didn't happen on that big grand scale that y'all are talking about. Okay? In Africa, they would have, when they went to war with each other, they'd have, prisoners, from whoever it is that they were fighting, okay? Things like that. You know what I'm saying? They know about that, you know. And, a lot of y'all who claim to be, RBG and this, that, and the other, and the problem is, y'all don't even know, most of y'all don't even know who your great grandmother was. Who's gonna respect you if you don't know who your great grandmother was? Okay? I mean, are you serious? Um, and you're not even interested. You don't even know who your great grandmother was, but yet you're gonna talk about I'm from Africa. You know, that's ridiculous. Or you say, oh, well, I don't need to know that. All I have to do is take a DNA test. I'm sorry. A DNA test is not going to tell you what tribe in Africa you're from. Okay? I'm sorry. Okay? Because a lot of that, what they're calling sub-Saharan African DNA, is actually American DNA. Okay? I already told y'all, I was the first one to post that article up on social media. I came across that document about the mosquito preserved in amber right here in the Americas 15 million years ago. Okay? So you can't just take a DNA test and just assume just because it says sub-Saharan Africa that it's referring to Africa over there. Because I already told you in the last video that this was the original ancient Africa. Okay? We already proved that in many lectures. All right? Anyway, let's get back to Juneteenth. All right, as I told y'all, every year Washita observes Juneteenth, and I just want to play y'all a little video clip here illustrating what I'm talking about. Okay, let's play this right quick.
One of the oldest tribes of indigenous people. Now, nation members are back in the Arklamis, a region they claim is their homeland.
As our Jeremy Pierre reports, they're celebrating their heritage and paying their final respects to their former leader.
Vertice Washington Turner Gaston Elbe of the Washita Nation was known for a number of things, being an activist, a mayor, and an empress. Her followers believe she was a prophet, descending from the original inhabitants of our region.
She was given some information of resurrection.
The empress is gone, but family members are following in her footsteps. Her cousin is called the Crown Prince Emperor. He and other members feel it is their mission to share the divine information given to the empress, information they say proves their people are the original owners of Washita Parish.
Resurrection is bringing the people up to what's going on, as in for civilizing the people, actually giving them the information of the original owners of Wichita, which is Washita Parish.
The nation is honoring the life of their deceased empress while also celebrating their own Juneteenth. It is the date in 1848 descendants of the empress say they won a case against the federal government. They say the case confirmed land gained through the Louisiana Purchase did not belong to the U.S.
Proving that the land belonged to the indigenous inhabitants, the Washita Turner Empire, Washita, D.W. Monument. This empire were people that the French and the Spanish would visit long before the United States was recognized as a nation internationally.
The group is holding its convention in Monroe. They will scatter the empress's ashes in the Washita River. In Monroe, Jeremy Pierre, KNOE 8 News.
Okay. So, Juneteenth, it's not just an African American holiday about enslaved Africans. Okay, it was an indigenous celebration. Okay, and what they did was they lumped the history of Africans that came over here with those of us who were melanated and already here, and they made it seem like, all of the people, all the dark-skinned people that were enslaved here were African, okay, which is not true, okay. The majority of those that they enslaved were indigenous people here. But those indigenous people, again, those were indigenous dark-skinned people who are phenotypically what you would call black today, or African American, or whatever you want to call it. Okay. One second here. Yeah, so Umar Johnson, he has to do some more research, and get more versed on this topic, okay? Because he's misleading a lot of people, You can't come with revisionist history in the year 2021. You know, a lot of people are not going for it. You know, of course, you got a lot of people who are going for it because they don't have knowledge of self. But you know, there's a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of other people who are not going for that madness. Okay. Say there's no dark-skinned indigenous people here. How many reservations have you been on, Mr. Johnson and you RBG people? Okay, because if you've watched my television program, you see I go on the reservations, and you see, you know, a lot of those people look just like anyone that you would find in the inner city in Harlem or Brooklyn or any inner city that, you know, in what they call the black communities. Okay? What about the Narragansetts? Look at the Narragansetts. They look at their features. How can you say there are not any dark-skinned indigenous people? Okay? What about the Puspatucks? What about the Shinnecocks? What about the Pequots? What about the Yamasee? What about the Washita? Okay? What about the Montuckets? Okay? You could go on any of these reservations or you can go to their powwows and you see a whole bunch of them, you know, dark-skinned indigenous people. You know, of course, they have, you know, their phenotypes run the gamut, you know, but you're going to see a whole lot of people on those reservations that look like us. Okay? What about the Nottoway? Cheryl and Haka? Okay? Who told you in their own literature that they were a dark-skinned people before the Africans even came here. Okay? All right? What about the fact that Thomas Males, okay, one of the leading authorities on the Cherokees, said that the original Cherokees were the complexion of cinnamon to brown to burnt coffee. Okay, I don't know if any of y'all ever seen coffee. You know, we're not talking about coffee with no cream in it. Burnt coffee. Okay, that's burnt coffee. That's like this here. All right, burnt coffee. Let's see. So those are real dark skinned people. Okay. I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Okay. So, you know, can't be stuck in one way of thinking. Okay. You get stuck in one way of thinking, you know, you're never gonna move forward. You know, because with all this stuff that y'all are talking about, I don't see any solutions. You know, so why not give something else a try? You see what I'm saying? Why not give something else a try? Okay. Then what a lot of them say, what a lot of the Pan-Africanists say is, well, the tribes, why would you want to be Indian? The tribes enslaved black people or enslaved African people. Okay, well, what you got to understand is that those ones who were doing the enslaving were the mixed blood Indians. You know, those who had little to no Indian blood. Okay, a lot of them that were just straight up white folk, straight up Caucasian folk. All right. Also, another thing too that you got to understand is that on other occasions, what they would do was to enslave people that was their family to protect them from being enslaved um, by the settlers. Okay, that was a way to say, oh no, no, well you can't enslave them. These are my slaves. Okay, and that would be their family. See what I'm saying? On the low. You see what I'm saying? So, you got to correct your history. We're not talking about the freedmen and stuff like that who are fighting, to be recognized, among 5 civilized tribes, as citizens and blah blah blah. A lot of them, some of them know their history, but a lot of those freedmen don't have the corrected history. So if you're fighting, if your fight is from the position that, you're a runaway African slave, you already lost the battle right there because you don't know your history. You don't know that, you were aboriginal to the land. Okay? So, you're going to have a hard time with that fight. You're making some strides, but still, you're an outsider looking in. See what I'm saying? The original quote-unquote Indians among those 5 civilized tribes, okay, were melanated people, dark-skinned melanated people, okay, what you would call African American today in phenotype. Then they started mixing in with the settlers. That's how they became lighter and lighter and lighter, okay. Most of what you call Mongoloid Indians and stuff like that, you don't find that on the East Coast like that. Most of what you find is you'll find hybrids, okay, who mixed in heavily with the Scots, Irish, and things like that, and it produced, a mulatto cast. You see what I'm saying? Different than like the other who are heavily of Asian stock that you find, among the plains and, other tribes like that. Okay. But anyway, that's it. I don't want to keep y'all too long. I just wanted to drop that little something on you. Let's see what else. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover. Let's see. It's another article here. Let me see if there's anything. I think this article is saying the same thing that I said in the last video with the other article. Let me see. Dr. James Brooks, coordinator of multicultural affairs and consultant to the Center for Social Justice and Human Understanding of Suffolk County Community College, and the Eastern Campus, where he also teaches, said Juneteenth has long been recognized as the day when those who had been enslaved in Texas were finally told that they were free. Juneteenth, Banks said, was also an important and historic day for the Karankawa Native American population in Texas. Marking Juneteenth as a holiday in the United States, Banks says, comes at a critical juncture. In a lot of ways, people in America are starting to recognize and acknowledge the lives, successes, and of course, the holidays celebrated by African Americans, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's pretty much saying the same thing as the other article. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so if I think of anything else, I'll do another video. I just wanted to follow up on a couple of points that I didn't cover, that I forgot to cover in the last video. Okay, and until the next time, go home, eat.